Hello everyone, and have you wondered what the best set and forget team would be so far to get you the most amount of points possible? Well, tough, you're thinking about it now. But first, I'm going to be showing you the best team so far with no budget involved, for educational purposes, and then the best team you could have chosen from the very start to see what the maximum amount of points would be so far. But also, we're going to be gossiping about each of the players to see if I think you should actually consider them as an option going forward. So first, rules are meant to be broken, so let's look at the best non-budgeted team not complying to the FPL rules. The starting goalkeeper with the most amount of points so far is Patricio, who has had a total of 20 points after actually only one clean sheet, but the main thing putting him ahead is the one penalty save from Paul Pogba. Patricio very much helping Pogba to try and get to Madrid. So not only is he a good goalkeeper, he's a great guy too. He was originally 5 million, so does this currently settle the debate between cheap versus premium keepers? With Liverpool missing Edison and Man City missing Laporte, I think the cheaper keepers will be very similar for a while, so maybe Patricio could be a great option. But Wolves do have a few wibbly-wobbly fixtures coming up, so maybe not right now. Then the sub-keeper, who is actually the most chosen playing keeper right now, and it's Edison, with 17 points for 2 clean sheets, 2 save bonus, and 1 smiley emoji tattoo. That kind of doesn't get him any points, but you know what? It's a point for me, Edison, don't worry. Man City defense has actually been very good, but with Laporte out, will it be all over the shop or not? There's talks about Walker coming in to play centre-back with Stones also a doubt. So will they be as good then? And will Cancelo be as good defensively as he is going forward? Or as good as he is on the bench? Because he kind of hasn't played much at all yet. All questions that don't have an answer yet. And I have an answer for everything. I do still think they could pick up a good amount of clean sheets still, but only time will tell, I guess. Then we move on to defence. And the highest scoring defender right now is Patrick. No, not Star, Van Aanholt, with 24 points after picking up 2 clean sheets and a goal, which made them beat Man United. I like it. Palace's defence has actually been very good so far, only conceding 2 goals in 4 games. The best in the league right now. But they have had some easier fixtures, so that could change, but again, we will have to see. I think Van Aanholt is probably still at that price, which is just over 5.5 million, which I think is quite hard to say if he is going to be worth it. As yes, I do think he can get some returns, but with options like Kelly and Ward over $1 million cheaper, they would probably be much more worth it right now, and definitely less risk. The next defender to make the budget-free team is Luca Dean. He's had 2 assists and 2 clean sheets to get him 23 points in total right now. The sexy French lad with his baguette out has done very well already, even when he's not playing his best. He still manages to return. He's like when someone with a crap throw yeets a boomerang. Not the best out there, but somehow still returns. So good job, Dean. Everton's fixtures have been good and are still good for a while, so I don't expect him to stop anytime soon. Our next defender is my man, and it's Mr. Trent Alexander-Arnold. His crossing is just as posh as his name, and you know what? He can do what he wants, because so far he's got a total of 22 points for having 3 assists and 1 clean sheet. If you would have said any defender would get 3 assists in his first 4 games, he'd be mad. But he's gone and done it. His price is high at 7 million, but he's kind of already got better returns than a lot of midfielders and forwards at the similar or even more price. So I think that kind of fully justifies it. Liverpool's defence seems to be getting better, and as soon as Edison is back, which I would assume might be after the next international break, I feel like they can get to not quite, but almost as good as the defence they had last season. And for me, as I've always said since the start of the season, because I'm a know-it-all and I know everything, Trent is a better option than Robertson so far, but probably for the all season as well. The next defender is someone probably no one and their nan would have said would have been one of the highest scoring defenders right now, and it's Southampton's Vestergaard, who has had a total of 22 points after 1 clean sheet, 1 goal and 6 bonus points. He's actually had 20 points in his last 2 games, and as Owen Wilson would say, wow. Southampton haven't had the best of fixtures and have some tough ones coming up again, but I think at certain points, if Vestergaard continues, he could Vestergaard in your team. Unless you think his 5 mil price tag is too much, which right now I kind of think it is. Unless he can continue his form, sometimes it just is misconstrued with defenders, especially centre-backs, as their attacking turns are mainly only going to come from a corner, so he might not even get another goal in his entire career again. Or he could kind of just score next week. But it's so unpredictable, and I just don't know, Jeff. The 5th and final defender in this team is Virgil the Non-Dyke van Dijk. He's currently on 19 points after getting a goal and a clean sheet. He has a very impressive ownership of over 50%, which hasn't seemed to fluctuate too much yet. And I personally think at his price, and not being a fullback, even though he has great aerial threat, I don't think he's worth it compared to others. Maybe if he was the only Liverpool defence you could actually afford, then yes, but Trent would be a much better option. But ignore me because because I do still think he can get a decent amount of points, but maybe not quite as much as his price justifies. And he is also kind of the best centre-back in the world, so what else can I say? On to midfield, and it's Raheem Black Captain Sterling. He's got 37 points so far, 20 of them coming in just the first game after a nice hat-trick. And with a tally of 5 goals and surprisingly no assists yet, even at the original price of 12 million, he's gone up to 12.3 million. As just like this team, money doesn't matter, it's all good. But he did blank last game where he was most people's captain's choice, with a lot of people now considering Aguero. I do still think Sterling is going to score an insane amount of points, as he's always involved in the attack and probably the least likely to be rotated 90 degrees by Pep the Fraud. And with some nice fixtures coming up, actually wait, no, it's Man City. Every fixture's a nice fixture. I can see him getting at least more goals than he did in the last game. No, I'm not salty. I'm so over it. Thanks, Sterling. Our next midfielder is the most expensive player in the game, and it's Mohamed Salah. He's got 36 points after 3 goals and 2 assists. It's sexy, selfish Salah who is always involved in Liverpool goals, creating a lot of chances for himself and also wasting so much too. He somehow misses the most amount of chances out of everyone and still scores almost the most. Like, imagine if he didn't miss as many chances, he would generally score like 50 a season. And a lot of people are considering Mane over Salah now, but with Salah performing really well at home, where they will play Newcastle next, I can imagine a nice few points there to add to his already bigger than average tally. Our next player is the one that a lot of people didn't have, and now every single one is trying to go and get. And I don't blame you at all, because it's Kevin De Bruyne. 1 goal and 5 assists to get him 36 points. The same as Salah so far. We all knew what a fit Kev could do, but most of us weren't expecting this much so quickly, but I gotta say, well done, GG. Man City playing some wibbly-wobbly teams next, so could be another chance for him to bang them in. Definitely a player you should consider getting in if you can. Unlike me. Our fourth midfielder is Mane. He's got 25 points so far, which is actually pretty damn good, saying he didn't even start the first game after coming back late from AFCON, and only playing 90 minutes in 1 game so far, which he's not mad about at all. But he's got 2 goals and 1 assist to show you why he could be worth it. The Salah-Mane debate is in full force right now, with a lot of people saying they have to have Salah, and then a lot of other people saying that they have to have Mane to afford the other players they want. So it's all up in the air, but Sadio for one is one that's not going to stop. I think he can get a lot of points, but more than Salah? Not sure. Our final midfielder is one we all know is guaranteed to get points when he's on the pitch, but when is he on the pitch? And it's David Silva. He's actually had 3 starts so far, raking in 24 points from 4 assists. Actually, all coming in his last 2 games. If he was going to play 90 minutes every game, and for his price, everyone would get them in their team, even if they didn't play FPL. But again, the bold fraud Pep is ready to cuck a good amount of FPL players by randomly not choosing Silva for a game or 2. So be careful what you place your chips on in Guardiola roulette. On to forwards, and the first one is the guy, my man, who is currently the highest scoring player in the game, and it's Aguero! 40 points so far after scoring 6 goals in 4 games and an assist, where he's only played a combined of 86 minutes in the first 2 games, meaning he's getting a goal every 44 minutes on average right now. A very, very impressive number. I think with this current form, and right now, he is the best Man City asset, but I do feel as soon as Jesus is back, he's going to be on the rotation wheel again, meaning the Aguero-Sterling fight will keep going for a while. But you can't doubt Aguero can keep up those numbers for a while, because he probably will. Next up is the party man himself. It's Timo Pookie. There ain't a party like a Pookie party, even though it was cancelled last week with him blanking, but he's got 37 points so far after getting 5 goals and an assist in 3, and nothing in the last game. He's already gone up in price by $500,000, which is absolutely bonkers, but he is looking very good, and it will be interesting to see if he will be able to keep doing it. With his next test being Man City, I personally think he can do it against most teams with the way Norwich play, but I do expect him to blank every now and again, and you need to remember that. He's gonna blank sometimes. Every player blanks sometimes. And the final player in this team, and it's Tammy Abraham. He's got a total of 28 points after getting 4 goals in his last 2 games. And I personally don't think Abraham is going to be able to keep it up. He's going to be rotated eventually, especially when Champions League is around, and he's not quite there yet. Most of his goals have been rather fortunate, so be wary of that. I'm not saying he won't be able to do it at all, but I would be a lot more confident in another player right now. But for his current price, he's not that much of a risk, so definitely a viable option. So that team is the current best team in terms of points, which would have got you a total of 410 points altogether. But obviously, this would mean you'd have to have unlimited money kind of like Man City, and you would have to have all 15 players on the pitch, so maybe a little bit cheating, but ah well. So now let's look at what the best team would have been from the very start, including budget and FPL rules, to see what the maximum amount of points could be right now, but without transfers and chips. So this team would have cost exactly 100 million from the start, and if you were not to play any chips, but get every captain option right, which, I mean, no one's kind of done yet this year, it would have got you a whopping total of 372 points, which would put you number 1 place in the entire world by a whole 14 points. But again, with no transfers or chips, so could even be more. And if you weren't counting captain points, this team would still have got you 311 points. So very impressive, even without chips. So this team is impossible to build now, as almost all the players have increased in price. And I'm pretty sure this team won't be the highest scoring at the end anyway. But let's have a look through, as it is very interesting to see. So you can see from the formation, it is a 4-3-3. This is actually very surprising, as the defenders haven't looked like they've been worth it. But in terms of value, they have some great points to allow the other guys with more points in the team to all be in budget. So starting in goals, we have Patricio again. With a lower price than Edison and 20 points, he makes this team. The defence is formed of Digne, Trent, Van Aanholt and Vestergaard. The current 4 highest scoring defenders, with original prices of 7, 6, 5.5 and 5 million, showing they're worth a lot right now. I can't imagine Van Aanholt and Vestergaard could stay ahead of a lot of other options, but I'm sure Trent and Digne ain't moving anytime soon. Then the midfield, which may be surprising to some of you, consists of only Salah, De Bruyne and David Silva. As you can see, no Sterling. But why is this? But to allow more total points, there were 3 other Man City players that needed to be here instead of him. De Bruyne, as expected, same amount of points as Salah and much cheaper, so that's why he's here. And I bet you he is very much here to stay too. David Silva is a surprise here, but is one of the best points per million players right now with his cheaper price. And Salah, obviously he's here because he's selfish and needs to be in his team, so he can't pass it to Mane. And finally, the forwards, which consists of Aguero, Pookie and Barnes. No one would have said from the very start that Barnes and Pookie would outscore Kane and Aubameyang after 4 games, but it's happened. So yeah, this team would have had Sterling, but Aguero had more points for originally the same value. So there it is right there, the current best set and forget team from the very beginning. I honestly can't be bothered to work out what the maximum points would have been if chips and transfers were involved, because that is just too much effort I don't have, because I'm obviously spending all my energy watching every single international game, because that's what everybody does in the international break. But no, it would be very, very hard to work out the exact transfers and hits and everything, so I can leave that for somebody else if they want to do it. But I did this, so I hope you appreciate it. But what I think we can take from this is some of these players you wouldn't have chose from the start. You probably didn't even consider some of them at all. You might not even want to choose them now, but certain players dip in and out of form and sometimes do really well in FPL. And you have to try and spot that quickly and try and use that to your advantage to get them in before a lot of other people do. Such as when people transferred King to Pookie after game week 1. But remember, don't try and chase points and don't go for a team like this, as I assume a lot of these players may hardly get points for a while. I bet in another 4 weeks, over half of this team would be completely different. But that's all for me today. I hope this has helped you, or at least you found it interesting, because you know what, I kind of have. Thanks very much for watching, and remember...
Don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now.